Well, there's a very big difference between Congressman Alan Grayson
Tell me
and
two,
myself.
for example.
I don't manage a hedge fund in the Cayman Islands. You know, quite frankly, Congressman Grayson has been lying to the voters for years now. He has been using his office as a member of Congress not only to make money for himself and profiting off his office, but he's using it to run for the U.S. Senate. You know, right here is a book of almost 1,000 pages that the independent, House Ethics Committee put together, bipartisan group, right, 50% Republican, 50% Democratic, going through all of these violations. And not only is it unethical, it's illegal, right? So the congressman has been continuing to being a member of Congress, and he's got a lot of explaining to do to the voters. So that would be first and foremost the difference, but beyond that I would say demeanor.
And he has said, let me interrupt for 1 second, he has said on the record, on the show, and in phone calls that we make to him that, the investigation is that, an investigation. So you're saying there's more than that.
Well, it started as an investigation months ago. Now the first report came out. And the more they dig, the more they find. There's a lot in this report that hadn't been repeated, or publicized in the media yet, because they keep digging and finding more and more information. So this is well beyond an investigation. When you read through this, they say evidence of him violating the law, evidence that he has been unethical in numerous places. It's not one little minor misstep here. These are major, major allegations.
This tug of war between you and Alan Grayson is nothing new. Last year, you were actually pitted against each other in a television commercial from Club for Growth, a conservative organization promoting conservative principles. Let's take a look.
Two Florida Democrats in Congress with very different views. Alan Grayson opposes the Export-Import Bank, which spends billions of tax dollars on a handful of giant corporations. Patrick Murphy supports the XM Bank and wants to funnel billions more to corporate fat cats. Congress will soon vote. Tell your Democratic members of Congress to side with Grayson, not Murphy, and stop the Export-Import Bank's outrageous corporate giveaways.
Okay, so that vote was sidestepped last summer, but it came back again in the fall and passed. My question to you is this, and it's really interesting to watch that spot. Why is a conservative group picking sides on the Democratic side?
Well, what do you think? The conservative groups, whether it's Club for Growth, whether it's the Koch brothers, etc., all these Tea Party groups have made it clear they want to run against Alan Grayson because they know that they would beat him in a general election. He is outside of the mainstream. He is under, numerous House ethics investigations. There's all sorts of things out there about the congressman where he's been lying to the voters for years now. That's why they want to run against him, because he'd be easy to beat. So they're running ads like this, I think, is pretty clear evidence of the contrast between the two of us and what they're scared of. And you look at an issue like this, I think he's the only Democrat, in the whole country to oppose the Export-Import Bank. I stand with President Obama, Elizabeth Warren, and other Democrats who care about creating jobs in this country, right? As a small business guy, that's one of my top priorities, is creating jobs. This is an example of government trying to ensure that we are competitive as a country.
Speaking about being competitive, another issue that there's been a lot of back and forth, and it's about, some say it's all about, creating jobs and, generating more money, more profit, and then people say, wait a minute, we've got to watch out for the environment. I'm talking about the Keystone XL pipeline. Most Democrats are against it, but you've supported it along with other 30 Democrats. What's your thought behind that?
Yeah, I study every single vote and look at, number one, how those votes are going to play out, not only in my congressional district, but the state, the country, and then I look inside at how these really feel. And when I got to the Congress, I was completely against Keystone, but the more I studied it, the more I got to dive into the details, the more I realized that it wasn't exactly what the press and what often the media had been reporting about it. There was a lot more to it. First and foremost, I was able to put together a panel on the Small Business Committee that I sit, and was able to learn that the Canadian government made it clear they were going to extract these terrible tar sands no matter what. They were going to get it to market. I said, if it's going to happen anyway, I would rather it come through America's strict regulatory environment, make sure our regulators are monitoring that, better than anybody else. I'm a huge proponent of renewable energy, of investing more and more money in solar and wind and thermal and tidal, right? You name it. That's where our money has to be going. We've got to be looking forward. So that's where I'm going to continue to prioritize, I think, my funding, ask my request in the Congress, and certainly going forward in the Senate, because if we're going to be competitive, I mean, you look at just some of the recent stats, over 50% of all investment in energy last year was in renewable energy, right? That's where
Why do you
the
think
trend is
people
going.
don't want to go there so much? Because it's so costly for so many projects?
You know, unfortunately, there's a very strong lobby against this, right? There's a lot of interest groups out there, unfortunately, that don't want to move away from fossil fuels. We've got to, right? That is the way of the future. And it's going to make us more competitive, not only as a country, but each and every business that is renewable will be stronger for it.
And speaking of having to, I have to stop the interview here. I wish we could keep going on and on, but I hope that you will come back on the show, won't you?
I would love to. Thank you.
Representative Patrick Murphy, running for the United States Senate here in Florida. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.